Original color that they were pushing was like a greenish and like purple style, and we were like, no, that's not dad. Like, that's not dad would be caught in like some salmon shirt, thinking it's cool. Like that's dad. So we were like, let's push the brand more in that 50s feel, kind of old school serviceman style feel.
Welcome to another episode of Trade Secrets from the Ground Up. Today, I'm joined by my dear friend and very special guest, Matt Pozda, the founder and CEO of Call Dad. So, Matt, how did Call Dad start?
Oh my, long before me. So it started in 2013 by two guys who, one was in a band and did HVAC, and the other guy was a construction guy. And they decided to join forces and start an HVAC business.
They were band members.
Yeah, correct. So that's how they were sitting around. I always have this joke when I first met them that they were sitting around hitting bongos and decided to come up with starting a business. But that's how they formed it in 2013. And then I came along in 2017 and bought the business. So I'm not a trade guy by trade. I was actually a finance guy. So
I remember you were an investment banker.
Yeah,
right?
so I did investment banking for about a decade. And then I got the genius idea that I was smart enough to buy a small business and learn very quickly that it's a lot of hard work. I
think you may be the first guest who has not owned a trade business through the 2008 crisis.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to kind of get your perspective. And I think you might also be the first finance guy. So I'm really excited for our conversation today.
Yeah. I was on the finance side of the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So I got to experience at least that side of it. Yeah. I came out of college in 2006. So perfect, like right before the peak.
You got to take part
yes,
a bit. You didn't miss out on anything.
I was not responsible. I got to witness it. Yes.
Oh man. So how did you get the brilliant idea to kind of take leave the high paying cushy job?
Leave first class and first class hotel. Back then it was different. They were like, here's two dumb guys with money that want to buy a business. Sure, come on. So we built a lot of relationships with business brokers, and we're hunting around just trying to find small business.
And how did you to get into this industry? You could have bought. Yeah. The children's children's fitness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we ended up buying a few. But what ended up happening to me was while we were searching for small businesses to buy, the HVAC at my house went down. And I did not know what to do. My dad raised me very hands-on. So I knew electrical, I knew plumbing, I knew carpentry. I had no clue what an HVAC system was or how it worked. My joke is, for all I know, is there was a little leprechaun on a squirrel wheel. I didn't know that there were two units. I didn't know what I was like, how does the air get in the house from that unit outside?
Right.
That's how ignorant I was. So when the guy showed up, I wanted to know, I wanted to ask questions. I wanted him to educate me. And the guy was just a dismissive, I don't know if I can cuss on here or not, but a dismissive a-hole, just completely arrogant, ignorant, would not entertain my questions. It was no, I'm not, you need to replace it. I'm not talking to you.
I'm here to help you. I'm not here to give you a training.
Correct. But he didn't want to help me either. He did not want to educate me. All he said was, I'm not even talking repair to you, sir. You need to replace this unit. It's a waste of your time to repair it. That's how he phrased it to me.
Wow. Well, he was trying to get that big. He was trying to get the big ticket. He was trying to get that big ticket.
Correct. Yeah.
Not in a good way though.
And we talk about that often, at least in the leadership at Call Dad, of wonder if I got a good tech that day. I would not be in this industry had I gotten a good tech that day. So that pissed me off. And what most people do when they're pissed off is, especially with a customer service experience, is you start asking around for referrals, right? Next door didn't exist, any of that technology back then. So we were talking to neighbors, and they referred another company. And this was a company that I called, and, the wife answered the phone, very small business. She's fighting with her husband about when they can come out to do the service in my house. Like, didn't put me on mute, was like, when do you think you can get out there? And they're fighting about it. The day that he was supposed to show up, he didn't show up.
So this is a true like man in the van type of business.
Correct. Like the owner was in the van.
Owner operator.
Correct. He didn't show up, but because this is the power of referral. I think people sometimes lose the power of referral. He didn't show up, and I still called back. And I was like, hey, he didn't show up. When do you think he can come by? Like, that is the power. I think sometimes people miss the power of referral, that I gave that guy that much latitude at that point.
Yeah.
But eventually he did get out. It was like a week and a half later. But most genuine human being I ever met in my life. Like, took me with him into the crawl space, took me with him into the attic, taught me actually like the refrigeration cycle, how the thing works, like spent an immense amount of time with me, and then repaired it.
Wow. Really kind of gave you that white glove service. Correct. And like made you feel special in some ways.
And then when he left, I was like, man, that was good, but that sucked too, because we didn't have air for a week and a half. Yeah. So I was like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a better way. To bridge the gap of this dichotomy between efficiency, someone who shows up quick but doesn't provide true customer service, in that kind of inefficient, inconvenient side of somebody who does provide good service, but not on a time scale that's convenient for you and your family.
Yeah, and that's what that kind of got your mind spinning. Yeah, and so then at that point, were you starting to then look in particular for? Yeah, so you bought other businesses already?
Yeah, so because me and another gentleman, all told, over the course of, so I left banking after bonus cycle in 2006. So we're going on this April 15th will be 10 years that I've been in small business. But we've probably done about 30 total acquisitions across 7 different industry verticals. But because of that, so doggy daycares, property management.
You still own all those?
No, sold the doggy daycares. Yeah. And again, we could go into a long story about doggy daycares and how those businesses did during COVID. But the HVAC for me, because of that like personal experience and that conviction that I had, was really special and close to my heart. Like, that was my baby. Like, I wanted to find.
That was the one that actually like, kind of spoke to a true, like, it has to be, it's like a personal thing.
Correct. Yeah. Like, it provided that grit and determination of wanting to truly be an entrepreneur. And there wasn't much on HVAC businesses. Like, now there's 10,000 podcasts, there's 80 million books. Like, you can find so much. It's almost overwhelming. There's almost too much.
Yeah.
But back then there was like one book. It was HVAC Spells Wealth by Ron Smith, which go try to find that book. It's not in print.
Was the anymore. Ken Goodrich book not out at that time?
No, that was not.
That was
the
later.
E-Myth one.
E-Myth one.
Yeah, no, E-Myth was out, but
not the
not
E-Myth
the contractor
for HVAC
version.
contractors.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there was nothing. So that, like, to somebody who is big into research, my investment banking mentality was like really in hyperdrive at that point.
You wanted to see like who are the best people, what have they've done, like all that.
And there were no businesses for sale back then. So it was actually an attorney friend that found those guys, the bongo drum guys, who they were having an ownership dispute. And he introduced me, and I ended up buying them both out.
You're like, how about neither of you own it and I own it?
Correct, exactly. I've got a solution for your problem. And of course, I didn't realize how hard the business was, so they were like, here. Have it.
And you bought that yourself?
No, that was me. Me and my partner bought that business.
Matt, right?
No, Mike.
Oh, Mike. Yeah.
So we bought that in January of 2017.
2017. And then at that point, was it already called Call Dad?
No, it was Sky HVAC was the name of the business.
I see.
And it's funny. we used to call this back, and this is probably not a PC term, but like back in banking days, we would always say to junior analysts, like, hey, don't get deal pregnant. And what that term meant was like, don't get so invested in something that you're upset when it falls apart. Because in investment banking, like, you're maybe batting 100. Like 1 out of 10 deals happen.
9 times out of 10, it's
correct.
not going to go.
So because you're pitching so much stuff all the time.
There's other people too that are pitching, like trying to get in. So
and it's also like I've had Christmases ruined, I've had birthdays ruined, like every holiday that you could possibly imagine, because I was working 120 hours a week, like all the time, and like. It's a mentality that you have to have when you work over Christmas and the deal doesn't happen, because you're like, why did I do that? Like, what was the point of that? So anyway, sorry. But we always had this saying of don't get deal pregnant. And that's what we did because I wanted in the HVAC business so bad. Like I wanted in that industry so bad.
It spoke to you.
I ignored so many red flags in that business. The guy said, like, I'll give you an example. The guy was like, we're a paperless company. And I was like, okay, well, can you send me over your...
It's very eco-friendly.
Yeah, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I did not expect that for this side. This is a sub $1 million business.
Wow.
They said that they didn't have a CRM. So I was like, okay, like, what do you got going on? Like, can I get the files to review? And he was like, okay, meet me at the warehouse. And I was like, okay, like thinking he was going to like slide me like a manila envelope with, a flash drive or something. And the guy walks me into the warehouse and he's like, there. And he points at the wall and it's just, the warehouse is just covered in whiteboards. And that was his definition of paperless, was all the customers' names were all written on whiteboards in the warehouse. And next to each customer were like dots and circles with like X's and check marks and boxes and like all these different symbols.
Oh my God.
And he starts explaining what all the symbols on these whiteboards mean. And that was his paperless company. Wow. And like that, like, all right, nowadays, if I saw that, I'd be like, red flag, I'm not touching this business. But like, I was like, I don't care, like whatever. I did investment banking. Let me input all this data. We're good.
Yeah. I created a new language to express like, which people needed like maintenances and all that.
Oh, him explaining what each symbol meant was the highlight of all the years of me buying small businesses. That was it. But again, I had so much conviction around the space that I wanted in that industry. It also, I was told that it was primarily a residential maintenance install and service business. It was like 98% residential new construction. They didn't do hardly any service. Yeah. So like
huge opportunity there.
Yeah. So we don't do any new construction now.
Right.
But I spent the better part of like 3 years navigating new construction and dealing with that.
That's a tough market.
It's a very, very tough
low
market.
margin. You're kind of at the whim of the home builders and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Why did you decide at that scale, why didn't you just start a new business from scratch?
I think I was so desperate to learn. And I knew that in that industry, there's a level of respect that. So there was, this would happen quite often when I was trying to buy businesses, which was I would be sitting across the table from the owner, and the owner would basically like be condescending to me because I didn't know how to repair or understand like actually what they did on a day-to-day basis in the field. And I knew that trade was very prevalent of people who were proud about their trade. As most tradespeople are,
most people,
right?
Tradespeople are very proud about that.
So I knew that my biggest problem to build a business was going to be people. And I knew if I was building a business in the trade, I needed to find people that were willing to teach me the trade.
Yes.
And that was the one thing. So one of the owners stuck around for a little while.
The band, the two brothers.
Yeah. One of the owners stuck around for a while. And unbelievably humble, unbelievably genuine human being, and was willing to teach me the trade. And then kind of the project manager at the time also stuck around because I met him before and just seemed like somebody who took interest in my interest in the trade. So those two things for me were like, okay, worst case, like this goes south, I'll learn the trade from these guys, and then I'll be able to do what you just described of like, I could go out on my own and do this. So I purely at that point viewed it as a learning opportunity. Like these guys will teach me as long as I'm, humble enough to express interest in learning. Yeah. So that's ultimately what I viewed that
I like how you always had that long-term aspiration and vision. It's not about like trying to make money fast.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, this is a bet that I think is gonna pan out and is gonna be worthwhile, and I'm willing to, sacrifice immediate gratification for really just the learning. Yeah. I feel like, in order in so many aspects of business, like you really need to have that long-term mentality and vision in order to, ultimately be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I call them dumb decisions, but yes, that's much better way of saying it of like, Dad U was a dumb decision. Like any finance guy, anybody who's looking at the business would be like, that is a terrible financial decision.
And Dad U is Dad University, right? Like a university to train apprentices, right?
Correct. So it's an accredited apprenticeship program. About 93% of our field staff right now has come through Dad U. But it was a big, heavy investment early on.
Now I feel like a lot of top companies are like it's been great, but like I'd love to hear like why is it not an obvious thing to do at the time?
Yeah, I would say the one thing I again want to be careful because I don't want to throw shade at anybody, but like I always thought early on that there were a lot of companies that did it, but when you go look under the hood, like there's not a lot of companies that do it. Yeah. A lot of companies on their website like tout that they do it, have training programs, but they're not fully committed to it. And there's a lot that you have to sacrifice to be able to do it. So what ended up being massive inspiration for me was I started the business in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Which is where Morris Jenkins is. And Morris Jenkins probably has one of the best, probably the best university of any trades company around. Yeah. Now there's some other ones, don't get me wrong. Hiller's got a really good program. Like there's some others that really do, but university wise, like, most companies will start a class, but then they won't finish it. Or they'll get too busy that they don't want to do it again.
Yeah, that's interesting. And is it because like the payback is just too long? Yeah. And you don't know. It's like, how do you know if people will actually even convert, and all that stuff. So.
And then like to be truly accredited, you have to follow certain standards from the states. And we made a promise to the apprentices that we would get them journeyman certificates. And that's where, again, a lot of it falls apart because you bring the guys out of the classroom into the field. And then once they start being productive, like, why would you ever want to pull them back out of the field? And we were like, no, we're fully committed. So like we would sometimes, we're at class 12 now. We're recruiting for class 12. Wow. But we will pull people out. Like we just pulled an installer class out of the field. I don't know when this is coming out, but it's going into like, we're pushing late spring now down there. And we pulled installers out of the field because we made a commitment that we would finish education for them. Wow. So it's a dumb decision. It's going to impact revenue. It's going to impact bottom line. They're producing no revenue. They're being paid to sit in a classroom. But it's a commitment that I made early on that I knew if I don't grow the people, I don't grow the business.
Wow. That and it seems like the bet has paid off in the long run. So that's remarkable.
Yeah, we hit critical mass. This is something the leadership team and I would argue about sometimes, but we hit critical mass probably around class 6 or 7, meaning that there was enough talent in the earlier classes to mentor the lower classes and there was enough apprentices always in the field to be able to produce that when we would pull back to the classroom, it wasn't a major hit. So like kind of that critical mass point of the program actually bearing fruit was probably around that area. But we've got people from class 1 that are regional managers now.
That's incredible.
So like class 1 was September of 22.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So in less than 4 years, somebody went from literally he was in
didn't know anything.
Correct. To a regional manager at what will be a $60 million business this year.
Wow.
Really impressive.
And I feel like when you have like cases of that, it's so inspiring.
Correct.
To the next generation, because it's like, look what you can do if you really put your mind to it, right? So now let's get to the point where we still haven't gotten to the part of the story where the business changed to Call Dad. So I'd love to hear about that moment.
Yeah, so
it was Sky HVAC, right?
Yeah, correct. So Sky HVAC, and the reason that HVAC is funny, Mike, who I mentioned, used to say we do HVAC. So we did everything. And slowly I started learning that going too wide, like a mile wide, an inch deep, was causing us problems. Because it's tough to do commercial new construction.
Yeah, you got to specialize.
Residential new construction.
Yep.
And then try and build a service, residential service business at the same time. So we started to really hone down on the residential side. We spun out new construction. And around that same time, we were also doing acquisitions. So we were going multi-market. So we were starting to build out.
Because you already had that muscle. The acquisition muscle was one that you knew very well.
Correct. And I thought that was the path to growth. Like we would just go find new markets, acquire businesses. Now we greenfield. We don't do acquisitions anymore. But around that same time, I don't know. Best way I can describe it is like I kind of lost myself. Like I went on a personal development journey of like I just felt like something was off.
You went to a monastery or something?
No, that's what. Well, I'll explain in a way because I've told this story that way before. But it was basically like the way that I grew the service business was always being ahead of what was going on in the marketing world. That was around like 15 or 16, right? So there wasn't a lot going on back then in terms of the digital world.
Right.
But LSA came out.
Yeah.
And I was the only company in Charlotte that got on Google LSA. Stuff like that kept happening. And I'd be like, I'm a genius. Like, this is working. Like, whatever new technology came out. And eventually.
So you monopolized the Charlotte Google LSA.
I was on pole position.
Oh, my God.
Sky HVAC was the only company on Google LSA for the first 3 months that it was in Charlotte.
Wow.
And I mean, so like it was kind of new, so they didn't use it all the time. They were only doing it in select cities, like during that experimental process. But it was awesome. $25 a lead.
Jeez.
It was an actual customer calling. So stuff like that was confirmation bias for me. But I knew something was off, and stuff like that wasn't happening as much. So I kind of lost my way, not monastery, but lost my way. And I knew I had to expand my horizon. So my quote unquote monastery, if you will, was ACA. I was like, I need to go to a conference. I need to find
that's
like
where
what
we
other
met.
People are doing. So I went to ACA, and I joked that Ken Goodrich is my Tony Robbins, which I'm going to date myself. But a movie called Shallow Hal, where like Tony Robbins gets like Jack Black and puts him in a seance. That's what Ken Goodrich did for me, because he opened my eyes to branding. And I had, as an investment banker, I was like, if I can't spend money and track the return, like I'm not spending the money. That's one of the dumbest. Like, why would you not?
Very ROI focused. Yeah.
And I thought that I could outsmart everybody. And he really explained to me the benefit of branding and understanding branding in a business's life cycle.
Right.
So that for me.
And you met him at ACA.
At ACA. So
ACA, for the folks that don't know, is the Air Conditioning Contractors of America.
Correct.
They're a national kind of community of HVAC folks.
Correct. They basically lobby on behalf of contractors.
Yes.
Really, really good group of individuals and really beneficial to the tradesmen in the HVAC world.
Yeah, I remember. I think they announced the refrigerants thing when I was there last time. It was like the refrigerants bill or something like that.
Yeah, there's always something fun going on.
Yeah.
So that was spring of 2023.
And Ken hadn't sold yet, or he already sold?
I believe Ken was in the process of selling or had just sold. It was right around that time frame.
So he took you under his wing and was like, this is the future.
He basically, this is the way.
This is the way.
And he introduced me to Wizard of Ads, who basically came in and did, the best way I describe it is a personal therapy session for 14 hours of like what motivates me and what drives me. And back to that story that I was telling earlier about how my dad raised me very hands-on. I knew everything, but I didn't know HVAC, and neither did he. And then stories about my kids and my family, like just I'm very, very genuinely a family man. Like that's who I am. And if you spend time with me, that's how I come across. And they were like, how about call Dad? And we looked up the URL and the darn thing was available. So we're like, holy crap. And I bought the URL like right while we were sitting in that room. And then things just kind of
probably shocked. Like, how is this available
still? Blew our mind that it was even available. Yeah. And, the really cool thing about Call Dad is like, it can touch on so many different emotions from a branding perspective. And I say this often that like, there's two types of people. There are people that are trying to fill their dad's footsteps, like meet his expectations, right? Or there are individuals who are trying to make up for their woes. And what I mean by that is either an absent father or somebody who was not a good father. But either way, there's some connection. A lot of impact. Yeah, there's some connection, deep impact to that terminology. And a brand that was built out of an experience that I had, which ultimately was solving uncertainty. That's what that was. Like both experiences that I had, that was kind of my origin story, was uncertainty. And I said, I don't want another customer to ever feel that level of uncertainty. When I decided to get into this industry, and who's better at solving uncertainty than dads? So when that really connected for me, I was like, okay, like this is who we are and this is what we do. A dad is there to provide certainty and security for his family, and that's what Call Dad does for our customers.
I love it. I think that might be the first time I've actually heard the whole story, and man, that's pretty inspiring. I think as far as brands go, and then I guess everything descends from that. I remember the first time I met you at ACA, I knew I had to go and talk to you guys because you guys just had the coolest and most I felt like most distinctive brand and outfits. And I was like every company, there's Wilson Plumbing, like something like Rescue Air, and then out of nowhere you have Call Dad, the salmon guys with the cool shoes and Call Dad. I was like, this is a distinctive brand. Do you guys also have Call Daddy?
That I don't know where that comes from or why that happens all the time, but that is the most common. Like when somebody's, if we ever make a customer upset, for some reason it goes to Daddy.
Oh, interesting.
Like it's like if we get a negative Google review, it's usually I called Daddy. Like I don't know why it is. It's like one of those where it's like And I feel like, because I'll talk to, friends and stuff like that, and they'll say call daddy. I feel like people do it as a dig. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, no, daddy is off the table.
Is all that's that one's
too
off.
Similar.
That's too similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a non-PC way.
Right.
That URL, you don't go to that URL.
Okay. Well, let's avoid that URL. All right, definitely not going
Yeah,
there.
I mean, the one good thing for us was because we had done, at that point in totality, 7 acquisitions. Now these were very small acquisitions, so we were buying, businesses,
tuck-ins, like
million,
600,
600,000, like small,
True.
600,000. The biggest that we ever did was 1.2 million. But the team, the CSR team, the sales team, the technician team, like they had all had a lot of experience with rebranding because of that, right? Because we rebranded all those businesses. So, a customer would call and be like, hey, I'm calling for XYZ company. Who are you? The CSRs were very well trained in being able to pivot and explain that already because of the acquisitions.
Yeah.
So for us, even though it seemed like a massive change, it was just another day at the office, except for new shirts.
Yeah.
So we had this big company meeting. We actually did not tell anybody before it. And we rolled the brand out. We had,
Wizard of Ads was the guy that.
Well, they came up with the brand, but then we designed the shirts and all that. How'd you pick the
colorways?
Different. They showed the original color that they were pushing was like a greenish and like purple style. And we were like, no, that's not dad. That's not dad. Like,
that's not dad.
Dad would be caught in like some salmon shirt, thinking it's cool. Like that's dad. So we were like, let's push the brand kind of image more in that 50s feel, kind of old school serviceman style feel.
I love it.
Yeah. We did have a guy quit over it. I've had people
really
not want higher level people say that they won't work at our company because of the shirt.
They're scarred by their dads.
Yeah, it's just like, I ain't wearing salmon.
Oh, the salmon. Oh,
I'm like, okay, well, it's now a good gating issue for recruiting.
Yeah.
If you don't want to wear it, then you're not going to be a good fit here.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, I think it's good to have like that cultural identity and like kind of the distinctiveness. Like it makes like the whole like in-group, out-group. I think it's actually like really good for that.
So I stole where that came up from, and we actually have patches. So every single location has a mascot, and they have a Call Dad patch specific to their location. So like Raleigh's the retrievers, Hickory's the goats. So they have like a character that's Call Dad specific.
That's cool.
And then the uniform, like everybody being in uniform from CEO down to like day one apprentice, that came from a book called About Face, which is actually, if you've heard of Jocko Willink, in Extreme
Navy
Ownership and all
SEAL,
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
that was, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but probably his inspiration for the leadership principles that he came up with. But in that book, Colonel Hackworth talks about how putting people in the same uniform, giving them that level of camaraderie, and then holding those standards really builds a culture. So that's where I stole that from. And then when we found the salmon shirts, it's like, dude, we're all rocking it. Like, I don't care. Like, get ready for some salmon.
Plus, I mean, it fits well with your skin tone. So
yeah, exactly.
It's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. So in 8 years, what'd you buy this business for?
I want to say it was somewhere in the $400,000 range, so almost nothing.
Wow. And then this year you're on track to do 60 million.
Correct.
Insane. And when I think a lot of companies are projecting down years this year, what would you say?
March was up over 100% for us.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What would you credit
all organic, no acquisition,
as the some of the biggest driving forces for your guys' tremendous growth?
Yeah, I would say there's a few. Dad U, obviously, which we already talked about, is a superpower unlike any other.
Right.
A very, very, I mean, that cost us $2.5 million last year.
Wow.
Very, very, very expensive superpower.
Yeah.
But if you can do it and you can do it right, it's definitely a game changer.
Because I feel like especially when you're able to teach them, how to do it the right way from the beginning, and then also start to build a camaraderie right from the beginning as well.
Yeah, and then the other probably biggest differentiator that we have is just the way that we go after capacity.
Before we went on a bit about the way you think about cultivating and creating an environment where people truly are want to stay and be able to pursue their dreams.
Yeah.
What's that concept? I think that was one of the most interesting things.
Yeah. So we have, it's called a PDP, which is a personal development pathway process that every single employee at Call Dad partakes in. It's every quarter. I've actually ended up having to remove people in HR before because they didn't agree with it because they wanted like a true review process. And I was like, no, we need to have a more intimate conversation with individuals about what's driving them, not just what we need from them.
Yes.
So as part of that, we hired a dream manager or corporate chaplain or whatever you want to call him. His name is Todd. He goes by Todd. But everybody loves Todd. Everybody asks, when's Todd coming to town? Like that whole thing. But Todd manages the PDP process. And all it does is really give the individual the opportunity to tie their life goals to our goals as an organization. Because if we're not aligned on what they want and what they're trying to achieve and why they're at work in the first place, we're not going to be able to have success. If we can't grow our people, we can't grow our business. And the whole way of understanding those individuals is, I say this, and this is stolen from a book called Dream Manager, but if I don't know what your dreams are, I can't dream big enough for everybody in the organization to achieve their dreams. So that's a good way of trying to get people to put what their dream is, whether that's staying at Call Dad for 2 years, 6 months, 12 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Tell us what you want. We'll help you achieve it. And we can get the best motivation out of you while you're here. We can build the best culture and we can help you achieve your dreams and your goals.
Wow. So what if, someone's dream was they want to become a professional singer and they're just trying to make some money and they're really passionate about singing for like 2 years. How would you approach this person?
Well, what type of singing are we talking about? In full sincerity, it would be like, okay, like let's start researching this together. Let's put down like what steps would you have to take. So as part of the PDP, there's short-term goals, 90-day goals. There's midterm goals, which are typically in that 6-month to year window. And then there's long-term goals, year plus. And we say, okay, let's build these steps out together, and then we're going to hold each other accountable. So if you need a certain amount of money before you can go
to get there,
sign up for this class or whatever it is, it's like, okay, well, let's put in a system.
Build that backwards?
Exactly. That's the only way to get the most, because otherwise you're just dealing with people lying to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I just want your money. And it's like, not like, be honest. Like, tell me what you want.
One of our top sales guys, I always remember, he said that one of his favorite former managers was brutally honest. And he's like, hey, what is your life plan? Like, what's your financial goals?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we work backwards from your long-term financial goals for your family and turn that into like actionable things today? And he was like that was what he loved, because he was that person was just so real with him.
Yeah. It's disingenuous as, employers or companies to think that, you can keep somebody forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what most companies do. It's
especially in this job market when it's so easy to switch out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I took that from like being a father. Like, it'd be like if I was a dad and I'd be like, no, you can never leave our house. I don't care how old you get. Like, you're never allowed to leave. Like, what is? No, you're trying to prepare them for life. And not that like these people need prepare for life. I don't mean it that way, but it's like if I'm not treating them as if they're part of the family.
You want to ultimately have their best interests in mind,
Exactly,
and help them achieve
because
their dreams.
If I have their best interests in mind, they're more likely to help me achieve my best interest and our customers' best interest.
Yeah, that like complete alignment. I think I feel like the alignment that you've been able to establish is quite unique.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So
yeah, it takes like, it was hard at first getting people to actually like
to open up,
be honest and open. And most people were like, what is happening here?
I'm trying to get a promotion.
Yeah. But like having somebody like Todd used to be a minister. Like he used to preach.
I think I'm kind of, is Todd open for more work?
You in the market for a corporate chaplain? Is that what
I think I need I want to get a dream manager too for Avoca.
Yeah. No, it's incredibly powerful. But it's only as good as your ability to execute on it, like anything in business, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like the PDP program, I'm sure there must be some amazing, interesting dreams. What's been some of your favorite ones?
Yeah, I think probably what is the most inspirational for me about the process is Todd does a good job of reaching out to me when like people achieve dreams. And I get a lot of messages about people buying their first house, people buying their first car.
Wow.
It seems like, buying a first car is not a big thing. But for a lot of these
I
people,
still don't have a car.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you there one day. I promise, Tyson. But for a lot of these people, like it's the first true career that they've had. Or, they have a kid and they've been working to get a house for a long time. And Todd has truly talked them through the process of not only putting it down on paper, but then holding them accountable to go through the process.
To actually achieve
that.
that.
And when they get that house, like you can just see it on their faces.
Oh my God.
The excitement
that random, but that kind of reminds me, have you ever considered starring in an episode of Undercover Boss? So how I could not just imagine you being
the
like,
real estate agent.
Because you know how to do the HVAC, right? So you could go undercover as a technician, and when they do a big team meeting, you could be like, guys, I have an announcement. I'm actually the CEO, and Becca, your story is so inspirational. I want to get you a house. I can see you doing that.
Yes, I've watched that show. And yes, that's my dream. Okay, you know my dream now. Yeah, no, I don't think we're big enough yet for me to be able to pull that off. No, I think people know me too.
It gotta be a few more years.
Yeah, they'd be like, dude, I know that's you under the mustache. Like, I know you can't grow facial hair. That's completely glued on. That's 100% what would happen.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, I've thought of it. Thank you.
Cool.
But yeah, no, it is like, there is nothing more rewarding than knowing that somebody set out to achieve something, especially like that, that supports their family and sets them up for, that big step that most of us have in terms of progressing in life. And when they achieve it, and not that we did, like, I do not take credit for it at all. Like, they put it down on paper and they did the work. But the fact that we helped facilitate that to a certain degree.
Conduit to that,
That's,
I'm sure you guys celebrate that as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, Todd gets like a basket together, people sign a card, they show up, like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's special to us. Yeah.
Wow. Man, well, I feel like we've been able to kind of talk through so many things. What's on the so you guys just did this rebrand, it's been great. I know you just got into plumbing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. How is it getting into a second trade? Like, what advice?
And my head's underwater. Yeah.
How has that process been for you guys?
Yeah, it's been really beneficial. So we have a very, very small electrical department. that just services the HVAC side of the house. And one of the main reasons that we did that was kind of to start to learn the multi-departmental style is the tester for starting to roll out plumbing. But yeah, we had a small class, very small class of experienced HVAC techs go through our inaugural plumbing class back in November and December of last year. And then we had our second class of pure green plumbing technicians come out in February. So we're now at about 23, 24 plumbers.
What's plumbing revenue? What's plumbing revenue looking like?
We did so last month. I think we finished right around 240K.
Okay, growing.
So that's really, if you think about December, that's really 3 months in.
Wow.
So 3 months in, we're doing 240K, and we should finish the year materially above that.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to try to attempt to do our first $1 million month in our first year of plumbing.
Wow. That is remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's been some companies I've seen, they will just acquire a plumbing company.
Yeah.
But just to build that from scratch is, I guess that's the power of Dad You.
Yeah. And the problem with that is back to the culture. Like, again, we drink some salmon Kool-Aid at Call Dad. And it's like, we know that if we acquired a business, it's going to be really hard at this point to integrate another business into our culture.
Yeah.
And that's the power of Dad You, that program and what we can do with that.
Cultivate that from an early...
Yeah. Now, we're still, don't get me wrong, like we've been very methodical and slow with plumbing. Like we're not going out there and broad-based advertising. We're not heavy pushing to existing customers yet. Like we're being very methodical about how we're trying to grow it because we know that we're going to make mistakes and we just want to be careful and thoughtful.
Get that really dialed in before you get it really mass market. Yeah.
We don't have the same capacity that we have on the HVAC side. So we don't want to, break promises to customers of ability to get there and all of that type of stuff. So being very thoughtful about how we're doing it.
How did you decide you were ready to go into plumbing?
We flooded our office.
Oh, it's always a very real thing that happens that spawns these ideas.
We've been talking about it for a while, and we knew we had already known that we were going to do it someday. And
it's very common.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very
common. We had done the electrical experiment just to learn some back office surface tighten stuff on how to navigate multi-trade. But yeah, we got a new corporate office and literally so we moved in or started moving in on a Wednesday or Thursday. The team goes in Monday morning because we still didn't even have access to the building over the weekend. So our CSRs had to work from home that weekend. Dispatchers had to work from home. And team shows up Monday morning and there's an inch of water.
Oh, wow.
All through, and just a little valve that ran to the water cooler popped, and it flooded the entire building. So it was all right, we'll take this as a sign.
This is a sign.
Okay, let's get into some plumbing action. So that that started the wheels in motion in my head and in the team's head, and we're like, this will be a cool video to kick it off too. So that started the process for us.
Get their team rallied around that as well.
And the reality, the other thing that I think the reason most people chase it, the plumbers chase HVAC because they think those big tickets are sexy. The HVAC people chase plumbing because of the stabilization of the business.
Right.
And
much more evergreen.
Yeah. And we did, close to 35 million last year.
Because for you guys, if you just do HVAC, is it fair to say that in very mild temperature months where it's 60, 70 degrees, you guys get very minimal revenue?
Yeah. Well, that's so we did close to 35 million last year in all HVAC, and that revenue is that.
How do you think about obviously you guys have developed such a strong brand in the market. do you guys do a lot of marketing now? Like, I know you were you say you're first to Google LSA.
Yeah.
Curious, like, as the marketing landscape has changed, how have you guys kind of adapted to the times?
Yeah, so when I sit down every year and I budget marketing, I used to think so much in that ROI vein, but now actually I don't budget any digital stuff, because I say that's all variable expense. Because if it's giving me a return, I'm going to spend money on it.
Yeah.
So all that I budget now is branding and old school legacy
TV.
makes people cringe type media.
Yeah,
so
okay.
we're doing radio. We do a lot of radio.
All right.
A lot of radio. If I told you how much money we spend on radio it would make you sick. We do TV. We just got
That's
into
where
TV.
the alpha is, though, as people are starting to not really kind of go away from those classical mediums. I feel like
Correct.
That's where a lot of the alpha truly is.
Yeah. So the way that I view it on the branding side, and again, all of this stole and give credit to Ken Goodrich, but I look at the CPM funnel is what I call it, like internally.
What's that? Yeah.
So cost per mil, which is just basically how much does it cost per 1,000 ears or eyeballs. And the way I took the branding approach once we did Call Dad was, all right, what's the cheapest CPM that it's out there, right? From a branding perspective. So this is traditional media. What's the cheapest? And it was radio. So it was like, okay, we'll start with radio and then we'll work our way down that funnel. So like, then now we're getting into TV. So we're doing a lot of TV. We're about December was our first month on that. So we're 4 or 5 months into TV.
Like local TV stations, news.
Broadcast TV. So CTV and OTT, that's a completely different conversation. That's a long conversation. I can give you my thoughts on that. But we are starting to do some stuff on CTV, but very, very limited. Billboards, we're not doing billboards, but that's like as you continue to move down that funnel, like we'll eventually get there. Because again, if you just view it from CPM, I want maximum ears and eyeballs. I'm going to completely penetrate or saturate each of those before I move to the next. All the way down to the most expensive. I ask this question a lot of people who are, asking what we're doing. I'm like, what do you think the most expensive CPM is? And I don't care what people say, it's door to door. Because if you do it through the vein of like, all right, how many people am I reaching with this one thing? It's like, I've only got one person that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So like I always say, that's at the bottom, radio is at the top. We're going to work our way down.
Yeah. Wow. Have you found success with door to door at all?
No, we've never done it. That's why I said it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom. When I get to door, I'll call you and let you know, because I don't think I'll ever get there.
Direct. How about direct?
They bug me too much that I'm like, I couldn't do that to a customer.
Yeah. Direct mail?
Yes, we do a lot of direct mail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. A little bit on kind of a similar vein, but I feel like with Google LSA, you guys were one of the, I guess, the most early adopters in all of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And you've certainly been early to a lot of other technological trends. What kind of made you like want to always have this early adopter mentality, and how's that treated you over the years?
Yeah, well, this really comes back to that driving force that got me into the industry of solving uncertainty for customers.
Yeah.
So anytime that I'm analyzing any technology, especially like internal technology,
you have that framework.
Yeah, it's like, how can this create less friction for the customer? And if there's an opportunity to create less friction for the customer, I'm going to jump on it. And that was my belief on LSA and I think that was the reason that so many people were like, no. It was like, I have to go through this guarantee background check, like all this stuff, like screw Google. And it's like, no, like if the customer sees like this Google guarantee badge and this commitment, like they're to them, that's making their lives easier because they know that this business is certified and verified. So that's removing friction for the customer. I'm going to jump on that. So I've always used that lens of when I look at a technology, like, does this remove friction for our customer? And if it does, I explore it.
Wow. I really like the unified framework for everything. I feel like it makes decision making so simple when you can just like always boil it down to the first principles and like the key vision of the company.
Correct.
So.
That's why like how I got into the business and then our mission is so important. And if we don't filter every decision through that, like we don't have a North Star as a business. Like where are we going and why are we doing it?
I was curious, like, what is the process of trademarking such an catchy term?
The old trademark and patent office, like I don't know if you've ever had to deal with them, but I have this like image of what that like card catalog system in like some basement bunker in DC. But no, I'm fortunately or unfortunately, I'm actually married to an attorney. So knew very early on that when we saw that URL was available, it's like, okay, this is number one, this is going to be big. Like we know this is going to be something one day, and this is going to be the catalyst for us to grow this business as big as we want to get it. So she started the process very early on. So hired an attorney and went down the trademark path. I was blown away that it was available. So somebody had trademarked Call Dad before.
Oh.
And Dad, but they both had expired. Right. And it was actually like what it was a home warranty business that was not actually using the trade name. They just trademarked it as some larger name grab or whatever they did. Right. And it had gone dormant. So we actually had to wait out a period because it was 6 months from expiring. So we were sitting there every single day like, oh my gosh, like, is it going to expire? Is it going to expire? It had expired.
It finally expired.
Yeah. And then, but we had already filed ours hoping that would expire. And when that expired, we knew that we had a really good chance of getting it.
That's incredible. So I mean, I feel like there's like similar to patent trolls, there's probably a lot of trademark trolls that just sit on top of these like catchy, like nice trademarks, and then they try to like get 100%. You an arm in the leg to buy them.
Yeah, I mean, again, that happens with URLs all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, I think it happened with somebody really big once. It was like, was it Microsoft or something?
Might have been
some company that happened once where the guy bought it. Yeah, it was like what? And I think he ended up giving it back.
I think it was also athlete as well. It happened to some athletes like logo or something. They're like there's always there maybe like it might have been Federer or something where someone's like, oh, actually I've already had this is too similar, and then they ended up in a lawsuit, but then they're like no like this is Federer's logo.
So we've had to enforce it once.
Oh, already. Really?
Yeah.
What
in the Carolinas, somebody started up another business called Call Dad.
Like in home services?
And we've seen this push in some markets. So we have Call Mom as well, because we're starting to do some things along that side as well.
What type of
from a branding perspective? Okay. And then but starting to see where people are catching on, like these names of just your dad's business or your business last name don't carry the same weight as something sentimental like this. So we've seen that. Believe it or not, weather tends to work somehow in our favor. Like it'll be mild in Charleston, but cool in Asheville.
Oh, so there's always work.
So we're always trying,
and people can travel.
Or there's also like these inexplicitly days. I'm sure you can see this in some of your data where it's like, I don't know why the phone's ringing so much today.
Yeah.
But it happens. So that helps us being able to shift and manage capacity that way, but still not to the degree of June, July, August. Like that, you're just, but we can mitigate, but not to that degree. So the plumbing side has a tiny bit of seasonality, in like going into cooler weather from some of the tanks. But for the most part, that business in the Southeast is pretty steady Eddie. So a lot of businesses do it just to stabilize overall revenue.
Love it. Last question, just I kind of thought about is like, how did you come up with a number 250? Is that math that you thought of? Like if I take this percentage of, or if I continue to grow like this in the Carolinas, like I could achieve this, or how did you get to that?
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say that there was an actual Excel spreadsheet that I built that was like very thoughtful and had a lot of math like that. No, it was more like back of the napkin. There's this many major, secondary and tertiary markets within North and South Carolina. And based on those, I think we could do this. But for me, like, I hate to say it, and I have to be careful with my team sometimes because I'm a very negatively motivated person. And what I mean by that, like, if somebody tells me I can't do something, I am hell or high water going to prove you wrong.
Yep.
And I think this comes back to like my childhood where I had one brother and my dad was huge into baseball, really, really into baseball. And he coached baseball. And he coached my brother. So I never once had my dad as my coach in baseball. He always coached my older brother. And I think that of like prove you mentality gave me the chip on the shoulder of like, I'm always going to want to prove somebody that I can do something. So nobody ever said this to me. I've had people tell me that I can't do 100 million. I've had people tell me I'll never do, like last year I had people tell me you won't grow like that this year. Nobody's growing. So like it happens all the time. Nobody ever once said 250. So it's not like somebody specifically said 250.
I guess my last question, is where do you see Call Dad going in the next 5 years? How do you see the business evolving and growing? I know it's loaded, big question, but it feels like it's changed so much in the last 5. So what do you think?
You're rebranding to Call Mom. Which is trademark, by the way. I've got that as well. Don't try. And by the way, I don't know if I said this, but everybody now, it's okay if you say call Dad around me, but if you're not around me, you have to say ring father. Okay, just because it is trademarked. So everybody internally knows like our goal is 250 in the Carolinas. So I want to be, the first organically driven business to grow from sub $1 million to 250.
Wow.
So that's our goal. I
think at that point you would be maybe one of the largest, if not the largest, privately held companies.
Correct. Yeah. So that's incredible. And then, and I think we can do that just in the Carolinas.
Wow.
And at the rate that we continue to grow, I mean, this year, again, last year we were up, close to 70% year over year. This year, we're already on pace to be up over 100%. So we're, again, well on our way. I think we'll expand beyond the Carolinas. That's probably 5 years. I really believe within the 5 years, we'll break 250. I have no qualms.
In the three master trades.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
This has been an incredible conversation. For the viewers in the Carolinas, definitely check out Call Dad if you haven't already. This is Tyson. It's been another episode of Trade Secrets from the Ground Up. Till next time.